So I like to start my stuffing the day before because I don't want to fuck around in the morning and I don't want to fuck around tonight during cocktail time. So, you know, anyways, every year I make this Portuguese stuffing, and normally I use biscuit or brioche bread. Sometimes I use sourdough, but I have bought this one before. It's the Oro Wheat herb seasoned cube stuffing, and I like this one because the breadcrumbs are already seasoned, and they're not like uniform like normal stuffing like Miss Cubinson's. It's not like uniform little squares. They're all different shapes, and it's more of a natural shape to them. Anyways, I always start by cutting up onions, garlic, and celery, and I didn't want to fuck around with that either this year. So I found these obviously at Safeway. Rosemary Sage Stuffing Starter. It has all this in there already, and I took that. The only thing that's not that it is missing that I always add is garlic. So basically, you know, in a pan, I put butter and olive oil, and I started to sweat my onions and my celery in there, and it's getting nice and sweaty now. And I don't add the garlic right away. Actually, this has been cooking for a couple of minutes, so now would actually be a good time. But I always buy these big fucking tubs of garlic because I use so much of it, and I like a lot of garlic in my stuffing or anything I'm cooking. And just add that in there. Let's do a little bit more. And get that all incorporated and get it all mixed up and loved up. I wish you could smell this. I'm wondering if I should add both of the packages, but maybe not. Maybe I'll save the other one for when we do our homemade marinara or our meat sauce. Anyway, so that's the start of it. So then over here, I've put the breadcrumbs, and I only put one bag for right now in there. Put the breadcrumbs into a bowl. And then this is a Portuguese stuffing because I don't like normal stuffing with the gizzards and it's all gray and fucking shoved into the ass of the bird. So I use Silva hot linguiça, which I have right here, and I'm going to cut it up into cubes. Little tiny cubes. So once you cut up the linguiça, I kind of chopped it because you want to be able to get, you know, bites of the meat in your stuffing. Now, traditionally, the meat that's in stuffing is, well, in my family, is the gizzards. It's the heart, it's the liver, it's the gizzards, and they all, get that out. I don't like that. They all go into your stuffing and they get stuffed into the ass of the bird, which I don't really like. So this is, like I said, spicy Portuguese sausage. And as you can see over here, these vegetables are ready to roll. And it looks like I'm going to only need one pack. So you're just going to let this brown up. I like it kind of crispy for my stuffing. So while the linguiça is browning, what I've done is I've taken the Italian flat leaf parsley and did a coarse chop on it. And then I also have some thyme over here, and I've stripped the stalks of thyme. Now I don't need a lot of thyme because it's pretty powerful, and there's already some in the mixture here. So this linguiça is looking bomb. This is how you want it. And there's all these yummy bits on the bottom that you're going to use for later. So I'm going to deglaze my pan. So that looks about ready. So then I've emptied the onion and celery mixture and the linguiça into the bowl with the croutons, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we have this pan of loveliness over here. And we wanna get it kind of hot, so I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. And you'll see at the bottom there's all this like lovely bits, right? So this is when we're gonna deglaze the pan. So you get it nice and hot. And then I'm going to add my low sodium chicken broth to the pan, just a little bit. Little bits at a time. See how it's deglazing? Deglazing means that it's getting, the liquid's getting added to the pan and getting hot enough so that these little bits scrape up nice and easily off the bottom, because you're going to want all that flavor in your stuffing. So there's, see, look at that. Let's add a little bit more. And we're going to let that get all loved up. And now the pan is deglazed. So you have this stock. It's like a spicy linguiça stock. Now to that, I'm going to add a half a stick of butter. Boom. And we're going to let it melt. You always need butter in your stuffing. You just got to. So we're just going to let this melt until it forms a nice glaze sauce. So now that the butter's melted with the chicken broth, I'm going to add my herbs, because you want to infuse this butter. You don't just, I don't know, a lot of people just add the herbs into the stuffing, and that's fine. But I like to infuse my butter so that the butter mixture has a really robust herb flavor to it. Oh my gosh, if you guys could smell this. So as it's cooking, I'm going to add some more chicken broth. And this time I'm going to add maybe like half a cup. This is going to be the love that gets poured over the stuffing. So I'll add little bits at a time until it's at temperature. And you do have a lot of breadcrumbs, so you're going to add a lot. And I'm going to add another cup. I don't measure things, I just know. So get this all warm. It doesn't have to be boiling. It doesn't, just get it warmed up. Because then once we get that warmed up, I'm going to add that to the stuffing. We're going to get it all loved up. So now we're going to take our sauce, our chicken broth and butter, and we're just going to pour it all over. Ooh, look at that. See all those bits that came up off the bottom? That's because we deglazed the pan. If you hadn't deglazed the pan, you probably wouldn't be that lucky. Now we're just going to stir it up and get it all loved up. So I'm thinking the one package of the croutons is fine for the amount of people that's going to be at Thanksgiving this year. Normally there's a lot of people. I'd say over 25, maybe 30. I don't know. But this year I think there's only going to be like 17. So one package worked good. I've got the stuffing in there. I've got the butter mixture from deglazing the pan in there. And you'll notice that it's not moist enough by just adding the butter mixture. So I added the rest of the chicken stock, and it's the whole thing. I just added the whole thing because you want it moist. You don't want it to get dried out. So it might seem like it's really wet. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Too many people make too big a deal out of cooking. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Honestly, like, I see people making like stovetop or some bunk ass stuffing for Thanksgiving, and I'm like, fuck, it's a lot harder to follow the directions on the damn box than to just, use your creativity, use your brain, and make this yourself. So this is how it is. I'm going to taste it because I have not seasoned this with salt yet. And of course, it needs salt. So I'm going to add salt. Here's my salt. And you want to add quite a bit of salt because, yes, the linguiça has salt in it, but it's not going to incorporate throughout all of this bread. The bread soaks up everything. So you really want to make sure that you season your stuffing very good. I know this seems like a lot of salt. If you're on a salt restricted diet, maybe use Mrs. Dash instead. So I add salt. I also use pepper. I like the fine pepper rather than the coarse ground because coarse ground you bite into it and it's just kind of gritty. And then I also always add, even though I added a shitload of garlic in the beginning, garlic powder because you really want your breadcrumbs to be seasoned. So once that's in there, I don't measure anything. Nobody really taught me any of these recipes. This is one I made up myself. I call it my Portuguese stuffing because it's got Portuguese linguiça in it. But yeah, I don't follow recipes. I don't trip on cooking. I mean, cooking is art and I'm really artistic. So, you know, you just create things that taste good to you. And for me, I just taste to my liking. Perfect. Okay. The last thing that we're going to add is craisins. And don't get the, the craisins that are flavored with blueberry or orange. Make sure you're just getting regular craisins. And the reason I like to do this is because, number one, nothing screams Thanksgiving more than cranberries. But number two, it's really has a little spice to it, this stuffing, because of the spicy linguiça. It has a lot of zest and herbs in it. Garlic. So it's really a zesty, stuffing. So to counterbalance all that zest and to kind of just bring it full circle, you add these sweet little cranberries. And as it cooks in the oven, they're going to plump up and get really, really soft and delicious. So when you're eating this stuffing, God, I hope this is enough. Well, if not, I guess I can make another batch. But as you're eating this stuffing, you're getting bites of spicy linguiça. You're getting bites of cranberry and onion and garlic. So I'm going to take a little bite with that because I got to taste it. You got to taste your food to make sure it's okay. So I'm going to take a bite like this. Oops, there's no bread. Like that. It's amazing. It's sweet. It's savory. It's delicious. So now that this is all done and nice and wet, I put this into a buttered baked dish and I'm going to put it in the freezer. And then tomorrow morning I'll bake it so that it's warm when I get there for Thanksgiving. Oops, sorry, I'm back. So basically I put all the stuffing into a baked dish and for Thanksgiving or anytime really, I like to just buy these disposable ones and I actually don't dispose of them. I'm cheap, so I like to reuse them. But that's the stuffing. It's in a lightly buttered bake pan. Now, because there is so much butter in this, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna butter this again. So I just used some olive oil non-stick cooking spray. So when it's done, I'm just gonna sprinkle some of the rest of the herbs that were chopped up on the cutting board. See, I have all this excess and I don't want to waste any of this. So I'm just going to add it, sprinkle it over the top, and voila. That is Portuguese stuffing. And this is going to bake in a I'd say a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. I never time anything. I just bake it till it looks good, and it should be all bubbly, and the bottom should be crunchy. And this is just so much better than putting it into the asshole of the bird, because when it's in there, it's just really wet, and I don't know, it's just, I don't know. And I kind of freak out about like salmonella, and I don't know, it's just kind of gross to just pull all that crap out of the asshole of your turkey. So this is just a better way to do it. I'm going to wrap it with plastic wrap. I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator in the morning before I leave. I'm just going to bake it off real quick and then bring it to Thanksgiving. So there you go. That is my Portuguese stuffing.